is a strange burden that comes with intelligence. It isn't arrogance, it isn't superiority, it isn't even confidence, it is awareness. The more your mind understands the world, the less quiet it becomes. While others fall asleep easily, your thoughts keep moving. While others accept simple explanations, your mind keeps asking why. While others let things go, you replay, analyze, reconsider. Not because you want to suffer, but because your mind was built to see too much. Intelligent minds are rarely still. They don't switch off just because the lights go out. They don't rest just because the body is tired. Instead, they begin their second shift. At night, when distractions disappear, your mind does what it does best. It connects dots. It revisits conversations. It simulates futures. It replays past mistakes. It searches for meaning. You're not overthinking because you're weak. You're overthinking because your mind is designed to explore complexity. And complexity does not sleep. This is the part no one tells you. People who seem calmer aren't necessarily stronger. They are often less aware of consequences, layers, and implications. They think in straight lines. You think in webs. They see one outcome. You see 10. They accept uncertainty. You interrogate it. Their minds protect them by stopping early. Yours keeps going. And that endless processing creates exhaustion. Not because you're broken, but because you are thorough. An intelligent mind does not experience reality as fixed. It experiences it as possibility. Every choice branches, every word echoes, every decision has hidden consequences. So when someone says, "Why you can't stop thinking?" what they are really asking is, why can't you become someone else? You're not stuck in thought. You're living inside probability. And probability is heavy. Daytime protects you. Tasks, noise, responsibilities, movement. But night strips everything away. And when silence arrives, your mind fills it. That's why intelligent people often feel more anxious at night, more regretful before sleep, more aware of time passing, more afraid of wasted potential. Not because night is dangerous, but because night removes illusion. It forces you to sit with your thoughts without anesthesia. Here's the quiet truth. Highly intelligent people often feel mentally alone. You notice patterns others miss. You question assumptions others accept. You see flaws in systems people depend on for comfort. And that creates distance. Not emotionally, but cognitively. You think, why does no one else see this? And that question echoes loudest in silence. Overthinking isn't a malfunction, it's an overflow of awareness without an outlet. Your mind gathers information faster than your emotional system can release it. So it loops, revisits, rechecks, not to torture you, but to protect you. Because somewhere deep inside, your mind believes if I think enough, I can prevent pain. But there is a cost. Constant awareness comes with mental fatigue, decision paralysis, difficulty relaxing, trouble being present, sleepless nights, and the cruel part? The same intelligence that creates overthinking often prevents you from escaping it. You know too much to lie to yourself. So tonight, let's start here. Not by trying to stop your thoughts, not by silencing your mind, not by fixing yourself, but by understanding this. Your overthinking is not a defect. It is intelligence without rest. And intelligence, like any powerful tool, needs to be handled gently. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into why intelligent minds are drawn to worst-case scenarios and how your brain confuses thinking with control. Chapter 2: Why Smart Minds Obsess Over What Could Go Wrong. There is a belief intelligent minds quietly carry, rarely spoken, often unconscious. It sounds like this: if I think hard enough, I can prevent something bad from happening. This belief does not come from arrogance. It comes from experience. At some point in your life, thinking worked. You anticipated a problem before others did. You noticed a red flag early. You connected dots that saved you from embarrassment, loss, or pain. Your mind learned a dangerous lesson. Thinking equals safety. And once the brain learns that lesson, it never forgets it. Uncertainty is intolerable to an intelligent mind, not because you're anxious by nature, but because uncertainty represents uncontrolled variables. Your mind asks, what if I miss something? What if I overlook a detail? What if there's a consequence I didn't anticipate? So it scans and scans again and again. Worst case scenarios aren't pessimism, they are mental rehearsals. Your brain is running simulations, trying to prepare you for every possible future where you might regret not thinking enough. Here's where intelligence turns against itself. Preparation has a stopping point. Obsession does not. A less analytical mind reaches good enough quickly. An intelligent mind sees that good enough is often incomplete. So it keeps going. You replay conversations to catch hidden meanings. You analyze decisions long after they are made. You imagine outcomes that may never occur. Not because you enjoy it, but because your mind doesn't trust reality to be stable without supervision. When someone tells you, to just relax, what they're really asking is, can you temporarily surrender control? And that feels terrifying because for an intelligent mind, control is not about dominance, it's about responsibility. You feel responsible for your future, your choices, other people's reactions, missed opportunities, preventable mistakes. So letting go doesn't feel peaceful, it feels negligent. At night, this illusion of control collapses. There's nothing left to do, no action, no correction, no immediate problem to solve. So your mind turns inward. That's when thoughts become louder, more catastrophic, more existential. Because without action, thinking becomes the only remaining form of control. Your brain clings to it. Here's the uncomfortable reality intelligent minds eventually face. Thinking does not equal control. Awareness does not equal prevention. Preparation does not guarantee safety. But your brain hasn't accepted this yet, so it keeps trying. For now, don't try to stop overthinking. Just notice the motive behind it. Not fear, not weakness, but protection. Your mind is not attacking you, it is standing guard long after the threat has passed. In the next chapter, we'll explore something deeper and more painful. Why intelligent minds struggle to feel enough when they are capable of so much. Chapter 3: Intelligence and the Burden of Self-Doubt. There is a quiet paradox at the heart of intelligence. The more you understand, the more you question yourself. Not because you lack confidence, but because you see how much there is that you don't know. And that awareness changes everything. Confidence thrives on simplicity. It grows when answers feel clear, when decisions feel final, when the world appears predictable. Intelligent minds don't live there. They live in nuance, in gray areas, in exceptions, in contradictions. So instead of saying, I know, your mind says, I might be wrong. And that sentence follows you everywhere. Most people are unaware of their limitations. You are not. You can feel the edges of your knowledge. You notice gaps in your understanding. You see flaws in your own reasoning in real time. That self-awareness sounds virtuous, but emotionally it's exhausting because every thought is followed by another thought questioning it. Every decision is followed by a shadow of doubt. Not because the decision was bad, but because certainty feels intellectually dishonest. Intelligent minds set invisible standards, not external ones, internal ones. You don't compare yourself to who you were yesterday. You compare yourself to who you could be, what you should understand by now, the version of you that exists only in theory. So no matter how much you learn, how much you achieve, how much you grow, there is always a quieter voice saying, "You're still not there." There's something rarely acknowledged. Confidence often comes from not seeing complexity. Doubt often comes from seeing too much of it. So when you question yourself, it doesn't mean you're incapable. It means you are aware. You are aware of unintended consequences, of long-term effects, of ethical nuance, of hidden trade-offs. Your mind refuses to lie to itself, and that honesty comes at a cost. Have you noticed this? Compliments bounce off intelligent minds. When someone says, "You're really smart," your brain replies instantly, "They don't see what I see. They don't know what I still don't understand. They are overestimating me." Not out of humility, but out of accuracy. You live inside your own unfinished thoughts. They only see the output. Self-doubt as a survival strategy. At some point, self-doubt became useful. It kept you from being careless. It made you double-check. It made you prepare. It made you notice what others missed. So your brain learned doubt is equal to safety. Confidence, in contrast, feels reckless. So even when you succeed, your mind stays cautious, waiting, scanning, questioning. Most people move through life doing. You move through life observing yourself doing. You watch your thoughts, evaluate your reactions, analyze your tone, replay your words. It's like living with a permanent internal mirror, and mirrors are tiring. Your self-doubt is not a sign you're failing. It is a sign that your mind is deeply calibrated. But depth without rest becomes self-erosion, and intelligence without compassion turns inward. In the next chapter, we'll look at something many intelligent minds fear admitting. Why overthinking often hides emotional sensitivity, and why smart minds often feel more deeply than they let on. Chapter 4: Intelligence and Emotional Depth. There is a myth about intelligent people, that they are cold, detached, overly rational, but the truth is almost the opposite. Highly intelligent minds are often emotionally porous. They feel more than they show. They notice emotional shifts others miss. They absorb tone, subtext, silence, implication. And because they feel so much, they think so much. For intelligent minds, thinking is not just cognition, it is armor. When emotions rise, confusion, sadness, longing, fear, your mind rushes in to translate them, to analyze them, explain them, contain them, because raw emotion feels unsafe. Not because it's overwhelming, but because it's unstructured. Thinking gives emotion edges, names, frameworks. It makes feeling feel manageable. You may not cry easily. You may not react dramatically. You may appear calm, composed, intellectual. But inside, things register deeply. A small comment lingers, a subtle rejection echoes, a shift in someone's energy feels loud. Your mind notices patterns in people the way it notices patterns in systems. And once noticed, they can't be unseen. Overthinking often circles around people, not problems, conversations, messages, pauses, unsaid things. You replay them not because you're obsessed, but because you're attuned. Your brain is trying to understand. What did that mean? What changed? Did I misread something? Did I miss an emotional cue? This is emotional intelligence turned inward. And when there's no resolution, it loops. Being emotionally perceptive means you pick up on discomfort others ignore, tension others dismiss, inconsistencies others rationalize away. So while others move on easily, you stay with the feeling, not because you want to suffer, but because your system hasn't finished processing. You've tried distraction, music, scrolling, working, keeping busy, and it helps briefly, but emotional data doesn't disappear, it waits. And when the noise fades, at night, in silence, it returns. Because feelings want integration, not avoidance, and your mind knows this. Here's the cruel loop. You feel deeply, so you think deeply, which intensifies feeling, which demands more thinking, and the cycle continues. If you were less sensitive, you'd feel less. If you were less intelligent, you'd analyze less. But you are both, and that combination creates depth and exhaustion. Intelligent minds often stay silent about this because you don't want to seem dramatic. You don't want to burden others. You don't want simplistic advice. You already know the surface explanations, so you carry it privately, processing quietly, endlessly. Your overthinking is not emotional immaturity. It is emotional depth without permission to feel freely. You are likely praised for your mind, not taught how to rest inside your feelings. So your intelligence stepped in where emotional safety was missing. It did its best. In the next chapter, we'll explore a subtle but powerful force behind overthinking. Why intelligent minds fear wasting their potential, and how the pressure to be something keeps your thoughts spinning. Chapter 5: The Fear of Unused Potential. There is a fear intelligent minds rarely admit out loud. It isn't failure. It isn't embarrassment. It's something quieter, heavier, wasted potential. At some point in your life, someone noticed your mind. A teacher, a parent, a relative, even a stranger. They said things like, "You're so smart, You could do anything. You're meant for more. They meant it as praise, but your brain heard it as a contract. From that moment on, intelligence stopped being a trait and became an obligation. For intelligent minds, rest is rarely neutral. When you're not actively improving, learning, building, or advancing, a quiet guilt creeps in. You think, I should be doing more. I should be further ahead. I shouldn't waste time like this. So even relaxation becomes mental labor. Your body may be lying down, but your mind is auditing your life. You don't just compare yourself to others. You compare yourself to a hypothetical version of you, a future where you fulfilled everything, a path you didn't take but still imagine clearly. You see your own almost started that project, almost committed fully, almost took the risk. But that awareness stings because you can see what's possible and you feel responsible for reaching it. Time hits intelligent minds differently. Each year isn't just a year, it's a data point, a measurement, a checkpoint. You notice how quickly time moves, how fast later becomes never, how easily comfort turns into stagnation. So your mind keeps asking, am I doing enough? Am I becoming who I should be? Am I falling behind my own capacity? These questions don't scream, they hum. Overthinking often disguises itself as productivity. You think if I analyze my life enough, I'll find the perfect path. But underneath, there's fear. Fear of choosing wrong. Fear of committing too early. Fear of settling. Fear of looking back and realizing you knew better. So you delay. You plan. You reconsider. You optimize. And in trying to avoid wasted potential, you sometimes freeze inside it. Even when you achieve something, the relief is brief, because your mind immediately asks, is this it? Could I have done more? Is this the best use of what I have? Achievement doesn't quiet the fear. It often sharpens it, because now you know what's possible and the stakes feel higher. The hidden grief. Few people talk about this, but intelligent minds often carry grief for lives not lived, paths not taken, versions not explored, talents left dormant. Not because you failed, but because you see too many ways things could have gone, and each one feels real. You were never meant to actualize every version of yourself. Potential is not a checklist. It is a direction, not a demand. And the belief that you must maximize everything you are will quietly steal your peace. In the next chapter, we reach the turning point. Because there is a moment when intelligent minds begin to realize thinking more isn't solving the problem anymore. Chapter 6. When overthinking stops helping. There comes a moment, Not sudden, not dramatic, just a quiet realization that settles in your chest. You've thought about this enough, and yet nothing has changed. Intelligent minds trust thinking. It has solved problems before, protected you before, given you clarity before. So when something hurts, a decision, a relationship, a direction in life, your instinct is to think harder, go deeper, analyze more angles, run more scenarios. But eventually, thinking stops producing insight and starts producing noise. That's when overthinking crosses an invisible line. Healthy thinking moves forward. Unhealthy thinking moves in circles. You know you've crossed into looping when you repeat the same thoughts with no new conclusions. You revisit decisions that can't be changed. You seek certainty where none exists. You feel mentally exhausted but unable to stop. At this point, your mind isn't exploring, it's stalling. Not because you're incapable, but because the problem no longer lives in logic. Some things cannot be reasoned away: grief, longing, fear, uncertainty, meaning. Intelligent minds struggle here because they expect every problem to have a solution. But some experiences don't need solutions, they need space. And when you try to force logic onto something emotional or existential, the mind spins. Not because it's failing, but because it's being asked to do the wrong job. This is the exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix, the kind that comes from constant internal monitoring, endless self-correction, never letting thoughts land. You may feel tired even on days you've done nothing, because your mind has been working non-stop. And unlike physical work, mental work rarely gives you a sense of completion. There's always one more thought, one more angle, one more possibility. At this stage, people often tell you, just stop thinking about it, be more positive, let it go. But intelligent minds can't obey commands like that. You can't unknow what you know. You can't unsee what you see. Trying to suppress thought often increases it, because suppression feels like lying, and your mind values honesty too much to accept that. Underneath relentless thinking is something simple and raw. I don't know what to do next. Not because you lack options, but because no option feels fully right. So you stay in thought, because action feels irreversible. Thinking feels safer than choosing. Here's the turning point most intelligent minds eventually reach. More thinking is not the answer, but stopping thinking isn't either. What's needed is not silence, but a different relationship with thought. Not control, not suppression, but trust. From now, let this land. You're not overthinking because you're incapable of living. You're overthinking because your mind hasn't been shown how to rest without abandoning responsibility. That skill comes next. In the next chapter, we explore something rarely taught to intelligent minds: how to let thoughts exist without following them, and why awareness, not control, is what finally brings relief. Chapter 7: When the Mind Finally Rests. Your overthinking was never a flaw. It was never weakness. It was never brokenness. It was intelligence doing what it was trained to do: protect, predict, prepare, and prevent pain. Your mind stayed alert because it cared. It watched closely because it wanted you safe. It replayed scenarios because it believed vigilance was love. And maybe, for a long time, it was. But safety is not the same as peace. There comes a point when protection turns into tension, when awareness turns into weight, when intelligence starts mistaking control for living. And that's when the exhaustion sets in. Not because you thought too much, but because you never stopped holding everything alone. Some things are not meant to be solved. Some questions don't have clean answers. Some paths reveal themselves only after you walk them. Some clarity arrives only after rest. Your mind doesn't need to disappear. It just needs permission to stand down. Rest is not silence, it's trust. Trust that you don't have to supervise reality every second. Trust that missing one detail won't ruin your life. Trust that being human means being imperfect and still okay. Rest is letting thoughts pass without following them, letting questions exist without demanding resolution, letting yourself be unfinished without judgment. You do not need to think your way into worth. You do not need to earn rest through productivity. You do not need anything more to be allowed peace. You are already enough, even when your mind is tired, especially when your mind is tired. So tonight, try this. When the thoughts come, don't fight them. Don't chase them. Just notice them and return to your breath again and again. Not to escape thinking, but to remind yourself that you are more than your thoughts. If your mind is loud tonight, it's not because something is wrong with you. It's because you are thoughtful, aware, deep, and depth needs gentleness. This has been Midnight Mind. Thank you for staying here. Thank you for listening. And most of all, thank you for letting your mind rest, even if just a little.